In the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean during World War II, an extraordinary event unfolded, revealing a flaw that would send shockwaves through the conflict. Lieutenant Dan Daspit and his crew aboard the USS Tinosa embarked on a mission with high hopes and advanced weaponry, only to encounter a stunning setback. It was the year 1943, and the U.S. Navy had placed their faith in a revolutionary weapon known as the Mark 14 torpedo. This cutting-edge anti-ship technology was expected to be a game-changer. With its advanced capabilities, it held the promise of turning the tide of battle in favor of the American forces. The sailors aboard the Tinosa, filled with anticipation and determination, set out to demonstrate the might of this powerful weapon. As the Tinosa stealthily closed in on their target, the tension aboard the submarine was palpable. Every member of the crew knew that the success of their mission hinged on the effectiveness of these torpedoes. With meticulous precision, they launched their weapons, watching them streak towards the enemy vessel. The impact was flawless, the torpedoes striking their mark with unerring accuracy. But then, a bewildering silence filled the depths of the ocean. Chapter 1. As the USS Tinosa cruised the treacherous waters of the Pacific, its crew had one goal in mind: to disrupt Japanese supply lines and strike a blow against the enemy. It was late July 1943 when the Tinosa set its sights on a valuable target, the Japanese tanker Tonan Maru No. 3. The crew had been diligently observing Japanese shipping routes, patiently waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike, and now they had found it. The Tinosa stealthily approached its prey, silently gliding beneath the surface. Lieutenant Daspit and his crew prepared to unleash the full force of their weaponry, the highly anticipated Mark 14 torpedoes. These torpedoes were hailed as the pinnacle of anti-ship technology, designed to break enemy vessels' backs with devastating precision. With nerves of steel and anticipation in the air, the crew unleashed a volley of 4 torpedoes towards the unsuspecting tanker. They watched with bated breath, expecting to hear the satisfying explosion that would mark their victory. But to their astonishment, silence prevailed. The torpedoes had struck their mark, but there was no explosion, no signs of damage. Lieutenant Daspit and his crew stood in disbelief, questioning the effectiveness of the mighty torpedoes they had placed their trust in. Little did they know that this disappointing encounter was just the beginning of a series of frustrations that would uncover a significant flaw in the Mark 14 torpedoes, a flaw that would have severe consequences for the U.S. submarine fleet in the Pacific. Chapter 2. As the USS Tinosa and its crew grappled with the perplexing failure of the torpedoes, they soon realized that they were not alone in their struggles. The entire U.S. submarine fleet faced unforeseen challenges that would shake the foundations of their strategic operations. Prior to the outbreak of World War II, submarines were primarily seen as stealthy scouts, operating on the fringes of fleet actions. Their training and doctrine revolved around cautious approaches and adherence to established naval protocols. However, the conflict in the Pacific demanded a dramatic shift in tactics and mindset. Suddenly, American submariners were thrust into a new mission: unrestricted warfare against all Japanese shipping. This meant boldly roaming the vast Pacific, seeking out and sinking any vessel displaying the Japanese flag. It required aggressive and innovative tactics, pushing the submarine fleet into uncharted waters. The transition from scouting to blockade was not without its challenges. Submarine crews exhibited a wide variety of operational characteristics, with varying levels of training and aggression. They faced enemy ships with diverse operational profiles, some fast, some slow, some heavily armored, and others not. Submarine attacks unfolded under different combat conditions, day or night, submerged or on the surface. This complex web of variables led to an unpredictable range of success and failure for the U.S. submarine fleet in the early stages of the war. Submarine commanders, who had excelled in peacetime, now grappled with the realities of combat. It became apparent that success in wartime required more than just adherence to doctrine and training. Amidst the chaos, whispers of the torpedo problem grew louder. Submarine commanders began to suspect that the faulty torpedoes had deprived them of countless opportunities. However, isolating the torpedo issue amidst the multitude of operational challenges proved to be a daunting task. It would take months of combat operations, testing, and relentless determination to uncover the truth. Slowly but surely, the flaws in the 3 control mechanisms of the Mark 14 torpedoes were identified, marking a turning point in the Pacific War. Chapter 3. The relentless pursuit of answers and the mounting frustrations of submarine commanders eventually led to a critical breakthrough: the revelation that the underperforming U.S. submarine fleet was plagued by defective torpedoes. In the summer of 1942, against the objections of the Bureau of Ordnance, submarine commanders in the Pacific initiated testing of the various torpedo components. It was a bold move, driven by a deep-seated belief that something was amiss with the torpedoes. Over the following year, the flaws in the three control mechanisms of the Mark 14 torpedoes were finally isolated and corrected. It was a painstaking process, as each component was scrutinized to uncover the root causes of the torpedo's failures. On September 30th, 1943, the USS Barb set sail on a war patrol armed with newly manufactured contact exploders. It was the first American submarine to venture into the vast Pacific with a full load of reliable torpedoes. However, by this point, the Pacific War was already halfway through, leaving behind a trail of missed opportunities and frustration. The resolution of the torpedo problem marked a turning point in the conflict. The submarines finally possessed a weapons system that matched their strategic importance. With reliable torpedoes in their arsenal, the American submariners could now fully exploit the vulnerabilities of Japan's large navy and merchant fleet. The impact of the torpedo revelations was profound. The U.S. submarine fleet, comprising just 2% of the Navy, went on to sink more than half of all Japanese ships during the Pacific War. It was a remarkable achievement that sealed their place in history as one of the most successful naval forces of the conflict. The torpedo scandal of World War II serves as a stark reminder of the interdependent nature of strategic decision-making. The flaws in the torpedoes were not just technological issues. They stemmed from a failure to integrate technology, doctrine, training, and organizational structure into a cohesive system. The journey to rectify the torpedo problem taught valuable lessons about the importance of thorough testing, realistic training, and the need to recognize the unforeseen consequences of rapid strategic change. It was a costly and frustrating ordeal, but one that ultimately reshaped the course of the Pacific War. Chapter 4. The torpedo scandal of World War II held far-reaching implications for the strategic landscape of the Pacific War. It was not merely a story of faulty weapons, but a cautionary tale of the interconnected nature of strategic decision-making. As the United States entered the war, its submarines were intended to play a pivotal role in exploiting Japanese vulnerabilities. However, they were armed with torpedoes plagued by design flaws that hindered their effectiveness. The consequences of this torpedo problem were significant, leading to unnecessary delays in capitalizing on Japanese weaknesses. The Pacific War was primarily a naval conflict, and Japan, as an island nation, relied on a vast navy and merchant fleet for power projection and resource imports. The American submarines proved astonishingly successful in exploiting these vulnerabilities, but the defective torpedoes hindered their full potential. The roots of the torpedo problem can be traced back to the decision to upgrade torpedoes after World War I. The ambitious goal was to have torpedoes that could break the backs of enemy ships, necessitating complex control mechanisms. However, the Mark 14 torpedo suffered from crippling flaws in all three control mechanisms: depth control, magnetic exploder, and contact exploder. It took months of combat operations and frustrating experiences for submarine commanders and their superiors to realize the true extent of the torpedo problem. The complexity of submarine warfare, with its wide variety of operational characteristics, enemy ships, and combat conditions, made it challenging to isolate the torpedo's performance as the root cause of their disappointments. The revelation of the torpedo defects triggered a battle within the Navy's bureaucracy. The submarine commanders in the Pacific clashed with the powerful Bureau of Ordnance, which initially dismissed the torpedo's flaws and blamed the incompetence of the submarine crews. It wasn't until the summer of 1942 that the commanders initiated their own tests, defying the objections of the Bureau. Through meticulous examination and incremental discoveries, they gradually identified and corrected the flaws in the torpedo's control mechanisms. By September 1943, the USS Barb set sail with the first reliable torpedoes, marking a turning point in the submarine fleet's capabilities. The strategic implications of this breakthrough were significant, as the American submarines could now operate with confidence, exploiting the weaknesses of the Japanese fleet and isolating Japan from vital resources. The torpedo scandal serves as a valuable lesson for 21st century strategic leaders, highlighting the interdependent nature of strategic decision-making and the unforeseen consequences of rapid strategic change. It underscores the need for comprehensive testing, realistic training, and a holistic approach to technology, doctrine, organizational structure, and training. The torpedoes that once hindered the American submarines' effectiveness became the catalyst for their success. The strategic implications of rectifying the torpedo problem reverberated throughout the Pacific War, reshaping the balance of power and setting the stage for the ultimate victory against Japan. The torpedo scandal of World War II stands as a testament to the resilience and adaptability of the American submarine fleet. From the depths of frustration and disappointment emerged a force capable of turning the tide of the Pacific War. The rectification of the torpedo problem not only unleashed the true potential of the submarines, but also reshaped the strategic landscape of the conflict. The conclusion of World War II brought about a new era of naval warfare, one characterized by advanced technologies, improved training, and a deeper understanding of the interplay between systems and decision-making. The lessons learned from the torpedo scandal continue to resonate in the present day, reminding us of the importance of comprehensive testing, realistic training, and a holistic approach to strategic planning. Today, as nations navigate an increasingly complex and interconnected world, the torpedo scandal serves as a poignant reminder that the success of any strategy depends on the seamless integration of multiple elements. Technology alone cannot guarantee victory. It is the careful orchestration of technology, people, doctrine, organizational structure, and training that forms the foundation of effective strategic decision-making. The legacy of the torpedo scandal lives on in the annals of military history, reminding us of the remarkable achievements and sacrifices made by the submariners who served during World War II. Their tenacity and resourcefulness in the face of adversity laid the groundwork for future generations of strategic leaders to learn from. As we reflect on this remarkable chapter in history, we are reminded that even in the darkest times, innovation and perseverance can lead to transformative breakthroughs. The torpedo scandal serves as a testament to the indomitable spirit of human ingenuity, reminding us that in the face of challenges, there is always the potential for redemption and triumph. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.